Good morning everyone, I hope you're all doing fantastic. I'm Mysticle, and today I'm going to be bringing you the latest in XR news, including local multiplayer finally coming to the Quest 2, and I'll explain a little bit more on what exactly this means for you in a little bit, and Meta finally winning and getting what they wanted. That and a ton more coming up, so let's jump right into the video. So first things first, local multiplayer for the Quest platform. This isn't going to be for everyone, and has actually existed on the Quest Pro for a little bit now. It's called spatial anchors, and yes, you do need more than one headset for it, but with people that do have more than one headset, this is the way I think local multiplayer should work. And how exactly does it work? Well, Meta posted a little picture on Twitter to kind of showcase what it means. Essentially, you in VR will see every other person that is in local multiplayer with you exactly where they are in the real world, or that is if the game supports it. So in the picture you can see people in VR and in the real world pointing at each other as if they were right there in the room with them. This is the way local multiplayer should work. I think immersion could be boosted to the next level if you went out to touch someone in VR and you actually ended up touching them in the real world. I think that would be really creepy, but it is something I actually want to experience in the near future. That is, if I find a game that supports this and a room large enough to play it in. Shared spatial anchors are now supported on the Quest 2, PC Link, and the Quest Pro, enabling you to build local multiplayer experiences that reach an even wider audience and bring more people together in VR. Get started with spatial anchors in the link I will have for you down below. In case you're a developer, please do implement this. I want to try it out, and I do think that this is the correct way local multiplayer should be played. Seeing people exactly where they are in the real world and kind of having their voice coming from that exact location brings an extra step of immersion into VR. Of course, do have a switch to flick it off in case you don't want to be playing with it. I can kind of see people not wanting to play with spatial anchors in a smaller room or something like that, but I do think that most people will find this to be a massive game changer if they actually end up using it. Again, it's not going to be for everyone, but those that use it, I think, will find that it's a massive difference. Again, existed on the Quest Pro for a while, but finally come around to the rest of the Quest lineup. Doesn't say anything about Quest 1 though. That's interesting. PC Link as well, so I guess Quest 1 via PC Link would work. With that being said, next piece of news. Meta has finally won. They have finally got what they wanted. And what do I mean by this? Meta has finally acquired Within. They have been battling for this for a very long time now, and I personally don't agree with this. As the comments underneath all of my other videos have said, Steam doesn't buy out all of their successful game companies or game startups. Why does Meta do so? I think it's completely unnecessary, and it is monopolizing. It is anti-competition. Meta, owning all of these companies, can now go ahead and say, this game isn't going to be on other platforms, this game isn't going to be on other platforms. And they've done that before, but they've also allowed other games to be on other platforms. I know, they've allowed things like Beat Saber. I just don't think it's fair, I don't think it's good, and I'm always for competition. Competition is always better for the end user. So let me tell you about this in brief. Meta has issued the following statement from Jason Rubin, VP of Play, on February 8th, 2023. Today, we're officially welcoming the Within team to Meta. We're eager to partner with this talented group in bringing the future of VR fitness to life. Again, Meta has been battling for this for quite some time, and they are big on the fitness aspect of VR. They've made multiple ad spots for fitness in the past, and they've even posted massive banners around different cities showing that you can do fitness in VR if you want an alternative to going to the gym. So they're very big on the fitness aspect, but again, I just don't think that acquiring basically every successful game studio on your platform is the way to go. Other companies like Valve don't buy out every successful game studio that is on Steam, and yet here they are, still very successful. Sorry, I'm not very enthusiastic about this because I just don't see how you could be enthusiastic about a massive corporation buying out smaller companies, and it's not like a one-off thing. They've done this before. They've done this multiple times. I'm beginning to kind of lose hope for competition. Anytime there's a successful game studio, Meta might just buy it out, and that's no good, especially since that game can then, possibly in the future, not come to other platforms, which is, again, not good. With that being said, let's move on to something a little bit funnier. Meta is now trying to attract teens to their platform, which I think is hilarious because Meta has been this kind of anti-kid, anti-young people thing until now, or at least that's the way I've been seeing it. They've cracked down on the fact that under 13s can't play on the platform, which is fair. The box does say plus 13. Meta is now apparently targeting teens with Horizon. Meta has set its goals on 2023 for its teams to work on Horizon, including more than doubling its active user base and creating at least one major hit experience on the platform. platform, according to a report by the Wall Street Journal. The report referenced a memo and people familiar with the matter in outlining Meta's goals and strategy for Horizon. Meta's vice president in charge of the effort is targeting improving the retention of teens and young adults, as they will be the true digital citizens of the metaverse. According to the report, the strategy also includes specific targets, such as 500,000 monthly active users in Horizon in the first half of 2023, and improving the weekly retention rate from 11% to 20%. Now, if that's your retention rate, I do wonder what the retention rate of Echo VR was, considering the fact that, you're shutting that down. I am going to try and find that out, just to meme it in the future. I want to find out if Echo VR had more active users than Horizon. I mean, Horizon is pretty actively hated by quite a lot of people, even people that aren't very much in the VR space, like Critical, for example. Critical has been very critical of Horizon. I mean, I'm not surprised. I'm not a big fan of Horizon myself, to be completely honest. I don't spend a lot of time in there. There isn't a lot of customization, and it's completely blown out of the water by apps like VR Chat, for example, and possibly even Rec Room. Yeah, Horizon isn't very well liked by the larger majority of the community, and yet they're still here trying to make this work instead of surviving Echo VR. But yeah, here we are. Apparently Meta's now going to be focusing on teens and user retention, so don't be surprised if you notice that there's more teens in Horizon, in case you spend your time in Horizon, because I know that there are people that genuinely like Horizon. Now, enough of talking about that, let's talk about what is over the horizon, the PlayStation VR 2. It's coming up, it's very close, and people have already started getting their review units. I'm not one of those people. I'm not cool enough to get a PlayStation VR 2 review unit. Then again, I don't even have the PlayStation 5, so I guess that would be a barrier to entry. But we now know what the box looks like, and from a person that avidly collects boxes and really likes boxes, I must say, this is a pretty nice box. We now also know that Sony is working on 100+ titles for the PlayStation VR 2. According to Sony in a recent FAQ blog post, Sony notes that there will be 30+ games available during the launch window of the upcoming headset, but also hints at more to come, stating that there's more than 100 titles currently in the works as well. Sony also revealed that the PlayStation VR 2 weighs in at 560 grams, which is actually 7% lighter than the original PlayStation VR headset, which is quite interesting considering it is way more technologically advanced, which I guess shows you how far technology is progressing. They've managed to fit way more into a headset, but made it lighter. And moving on to our next piece of news, Sony has also confirmed that after setup, your PS5 will not even need to be connected to a monitor in order for the PSVR 2 to work. So to quote, a TV is only required to set up the PSVR 2 unit for the first time. An official Q&A page for the new system explains. The page also confirms that the full PS5 system and user interface is viewable in a cinematic mode, which displays a 1920 by 1080 HDR video format with 60Hz and also 120Hz frame rate, and no output to the TV, according to Sony. Once you've completed that first setup, a TV is no longer required for general PSVR 2 gameplay. Now, what's also interesting is what that tells me is you will not actually need a screen, a monitor, or anything at all to play your flat screen PS5 games on the PSVR 2. Supposedly, you will be able to play them in that cinematic mode, which is a really good feature by Sony. Maybe somebody doesn't have enough room to put a massive TV in their room, or maybe somebody else wants to use the TV that the PS5 is connected to. Well, you no longer need a screen in order to use the PSVR. You can actually just take the PlayStation 5 to a completely different room, connect your PSVR 2, and then play your games. Whether it's PS5 flat screen games or PSVR 2 games, it seems that that will be possible. That's a really good move by Sony, and I can see a lot of people making use of that, whether they just want a larger screen, or whether again, somebody else is using the screen that they want to play on. Pavlov seems to be more efficient on the PSVR 2. Pavlov runs more efficiently on the PSVR 2 compared to PCVR, with more room for rendering, according to recent comments from the developer. The developer revealed these details in a series of comments on the Pavlov Discord server, stating that there's more room for rendering, and it's probably 10% above PCVR just because it's a console, and rendering is more efficient. The developer then went on to note that the comparison was rendering PCVR performance using a 3090 Ti. So you can see that comparison there. If Pavlov is more efficient on the PS5 than on a PC with a 3090 Ti, it really makes you wonder how much more efficiency can they get out of games on the PS5 and PlayStation VR 2 if it's done correctly. I think we're going to be seeing some ports working a lot better on this system than they would work on PCVR, and definitely standalone. So that is very, very interesting. Here's something else that's interesting. The Squid game experience is coming to Sandbox VR locations this year. Sandbox VR, the location-based VR destination, announced a new partnership with Netflix to create a virtual reality experience based on the South Korean hit show Squid Game. Netflix's most watched show of all time will soon have its own location-based VR experience, which will let fans take on the role of Squid Game contestants. What's more, the game sessions include personalized highlight videos capturing in-game reactions for post-game review. I think that Sandbox VR, and Sandbox, listen to this, I think you should throw the people out when they game end themselves. I think that's a fantastic idea. Don't even give them their stuff back. Just throw them out the door and just make it have that little bit of flair of, wow, this has real life consequences kind of thing. I think that would be really funny, and possibly just ban them from the location permanently. I think that would be really hilarious. But with that being said, let's move on to Among Us VR. Among Us VR has recently released its numbers, and they're pretty damn good. Among Us VR is teasing a new map soon. Based off of the Polus map from the flat screen original, Shell Games also confirmed that Among Us VR will not be a launch day title for the PlayStation VR 2. In a new teaser trailer, Shell gave its first look at the new Polus map currently in development. Shell Games says that this map is in sight for a 2023 release and is opening the name up to a community voting. You can vote in the link that I will leave for you down below. So in case you play the game, you now get a chance to be a part of its history by voting for a new game for the Polus map. But that is going to be it for today's video. Sorry if I looked a little bit dead inside. I already recorded this video once, but then had to re-record it because I realized that the mic wasn't recording. So as usual, there was no audio this whole time. Other than that, I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day or night, wherever you are. If you guys like this one, please do leave a like. If you disliked it, I guess the button works too, but let me know why down below. If you guys are not yet part of the community, check out our Discord down below and check out our Reddit. I want to see you posting your spice memes on there. Thank you so much to the Patreons supporting this channel. You guys help me out a ton, seriously. Paying my bills, paying my subscriptions, and helping me make these videos better. So thank you so much. And as usual, if you guys want to be notified about future content coming up on the channel, make sure to smack that subscribe button with your forehead, ding my bell, and see you again in the next video. Peace.